that goes out to all the babies, mamas.
Welcome, Bobcats, to another edition of From the Field to the Fans. I'm your host and sports editor here at the University Star, Odus Evbagharu. With me, I have Cameron Cutshall, Kirk Jones. How you guys doing today?
Pretty good. You know, another show. Excited about to talk about. You know, it's just baseball and softball now, but basketball's been over for a couple weeks now, so ready to talk about some baseball.
I'm doing horrible. No, I'm just kidding. I'm fine. I'm good. How are you today, buddy?
I'm doing good. Kind of feeling informal. We don't have the I mean, he's got the collared shirt, but he's laid back.
It's
like,
late,
you know, it's like a vacation.
Yeah.
He's got his Ranger shirts on, and we won't talk about that probably till later. And then, you know, just informal here, I guess, today. But I think we're going to have a fun show. Relax, not tense or anything. We'll talk about baseball, talk about softball. Then we're going to have a mix at the end. Talk about March Madness. It's the Final Four, and us overreacting to opening day, as every sports fan does. You overreact to the first game, and so that's going to be all fun. But before we do that, we'll take one quick break and hear a word from our sponsor.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize 1,000,000,000 times.
We've done it. Since opening last fall, Vapor Essentials has provided San Marcos with the best in electronic cigarettes. Whether you're kicking the smoking habit or interested in the growing popularity of vaping, there's never been a better time to visit. Vaporize and customize with our ever-expanding inventory. All 100% authentic hardware from brands like Totally Wicked, Halo, and more. We also carry the best quality e-liquid by Texas Select Vapor, with nicotine ranges from 0 to 24. Try before you buy or just kick back at our full-service vaping bar. Our friendly and experienced staff will help you with all your vaping needs. Whether you're new or a familiar face, we'll be happy to provide you with the highest quality of customer service. At Vapor Essentials, we are consumers for consumers. We are your e-cigarette store. Stop by at 1515 Aquarina Springs or call us today at 512-878-8869. 18 and older, we ID.
Hey Bobcats, Otis here. Let's take a minute to talk about the University Bookstore and Fan Shop. These on-campus stores take care of all your Texas State needs, from books and supplies to Bobcat apparel and gifts. And the more you shop, the more these stores can give back to the students and organizations of Texas State. You can find the bookstore at the LBJ Student Center and the Fan Shop at Bobcat Stadium. You can also check them out online at bookstore.txstate.edu. Be sure to mention From the Field to the Fans and the Fan Shop for a 10% discount.
Need cupcakes or cookies for your sweet tooth, or maybe a custom decorated cake for your sorority or fraternity celebration? Pennington's Cakes has you covered. Since 1962, Pennington's Cakes has been providing some of the best tasting desserts in Central Texas. We bake our cakes, cupcakes, and cookies fresh to order with quality ingredients and lots of love and care. No matter the order, Pennington's Cakes will rise to the occasion. Every one of our creations is artfully decorated and memorably presented. Get 10% off your purchase when you show your Texas State ID. We also offer free wedding cake consultations. We're conveniently located at 1662 South I-35, right next to Thad Ziegler Glass. Come by or call us today and join our family of satisfied customers. Our number is 512-396-4059. 512-396-4059.
And we're back here to talk about some Texas State baseball. Impressive win Tuesday night against UTSA Roadrunners. The rivalry down, Interstate 35. Bobcats erasing a 3-run deficit in the bottom of the ninth to win. Garrett Matledge, bases clearing double to bring in 3 runs, tie the game 6-6. As he's standing on second, cool, Mr. Easy, Granger Studdard, the freshman from Buda. Hits a single to drive in Matledge to win the game 7-6. His third walk-off hit this year, so I guess it's his third career too as well. That kid's going to be something special. But for them to do that, come back, face adversity, and have the will to come back is something special, and I'm glad the Bobcats were able to pull out the victory.
Yeah, and what was even more special was that it was on a weekday game. You know, they've been not very good during the weekend game or weekday games, so it was good to see them get a solid win against a good team. UTSA is really good. They're second in the Conference USA, only behind Rice.
Yeah.
So they're still. I mean, they're a solid team. Good, always playing good midweek games. But Garrett Matledge coming around with a great double. He's 6 for 6 with the bases loaded now in the season. So, when he's up with the bases loaded, you know what's going to happen with the ball. He's going to put it in play, and he's going to get some RBIs.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Kirk says. I'm always a big believer in games like these because I know I don't want to say it's early in the season for baseball because we're kind of like right in the mid to late stuff, but it's not a crucial part of the season. But I still think this game means something because what I think it tells you is it tells you a lot about the players put in those positions. Like you said, Garrett Matledge, with the bases loaded, you can count on him. That's something later on in the season that's going to come into play. And, he's going to be the guy that's called upon. Or Granger Studdard, who had the walk-off hit. Like, those are players you can put faith in day in and day out. And you can't take away things like that. Trust building and just having faith that you can – or putting faith in those guys in those situations. Those do more for a ball club, in my opinion, than the win does. And in my opinion, I don't want to say in my opinion twice, but
yeah, I understand what you're saying. The team chemistry, team camaraderie, it's there. You understand you could put guys in certain situations and they don't flinch. Garrett Matledge, I believe, leads the team in RBIs with 25, but 17 of those are coming off bases, the bases being loaded. So clearly, Texas State, I think there's a secret to Garrett Matledge. You put people on, he's going to bring them in. I'm safe to say. And Granger Studdard, I mean, that kid is just phenomenal. Freshman, just cool with it. There's something about his demeanor. Been there, done that. I know what's going on. I know what's going to happen. He's got a cool resolve about him. Playing really well. Dylan Bind being able to pitch 6 2/3 inning. I think they found their Tuesday starter. As long as the bullpen doesn't blow it like they did Tuesday night, because they did blow it, giving up a 2-run home run, 3 runs Dillinger gives up, I believe, in the 8th inning, top of the 8th inning. As long as they don't blow it, Dylan's been solid for them so far. And hopefully they can ride this momentum into the weekend as they play South Alabama, who's 8th in conference. And hopefully the Bobcats can kind of right the ship now in conference, sitting at 6-3, losing 2 out of 3 to Arkansas State on the road. Back at Bobcat Ballpark where they're 13-4 and hopefully can progress.
Yeah, and offensively the teams are really similar. They're both kind of near that bottom of the Sun Belt. Texas State's picking it up a little bit, but they're both kind of at the bottom of the bottom tier of the categories offensively. But both these teams, their bread and butter is their pitching.
Yeah.
Both teams pitch really well. South Alabama is 3rd, I think, in ERA, and Texas State's 2nd. And Texas State leads the conference in strikeouts.
And I believe they're a top 25 team in the country when it comes to strikeouts.
Right, and then they got Hunter Lemke in the back end. His ERA is a little bigger than you want, but he's going to get. He's already got 16 appearances, so he's coming in when they have the lead. So, I expect it to be, even though they're 8th, South Alabama is still a solid team, and they've played solid, just as good as competition as Texas State has. So I'm interested to see. I think it's going to be a lot of pitching duels. I really do. I think that it's going to come down to low-scoring games and who's going to have another big hit like on Tuesday. So, look out for those big hits for Texas State coming in the weekend.
He took the words out of my mouth, man. I was saying I'm excited to see some pitchers duels because there's nothing more intense than a pitcher's duel. But you can never take conference games with a grain of salt. You always got to bring your A game, really, to every game. But conference games especially because they're in your conference, of course. So it's going to be interesting matchups. I'm really looking forward to them. It's going to be a good week at the ballpark.
Yeah, and South Alabama, don't let it fool you. They're a team that can play baseball, and they've had a tough schedule so far. They took 2 out of 3 against number 20 Arkansas Razorbacks, number 20 or 24 Arkansas Razorbacks this season. So it's going to be a nice little matchup. I look for Austin Williams, Taylor Black to eat innings, Lucas Humpel to kind of bounce back from a subpar performance against Arkansas State. Then I look for Mr. Reliable right now, Matt Smith. He's been leading off the lineup. He's now leading the team in batting. He's started 18 in the last 20 games. He should get it going. I think Colby has got to start being focused a little bit more. He should start getting it going. And then, of course, Tyler Pearson. He should be consistent enough. And some of these guys hopefully will have a big series. Last week I called a sweep. I was completely wrong. They lost 2 out of 3. This week I think they right the ship. I think they get 2 out of 3. I agree with Cameron. I think the UTSA win does dividends to a team's confidence and boost them, and hopefully it can kind of give them the momentum the rest of the way through conference play. And they got to start winning these ball games, because as much as I'd love to say, hey, you get in you get in by winning the tournament. I'd like to see them get an at-large bid too, where they're good enough to get an at-large bid, and you can send them somewhere and say, hey, you can compete in the NCAA tournament. So look for them to take 2 out of 3.
Yeah. I mean, it's South Alabama. They won it last year. They won I'm pretty sure they won the Sun Belt last year. So I think for the key to me is going to be the hitting. I want to see it transition from Tuesday's game, because they hit really well against Arkansas State until that last game. But in UTSA, Coach Harrington said that's the best he's seen them hit. So when that tells me that they need to carry that over, I look for Ben McElroy, who's been really hot lately. He's starting games. But I think right now I would probably say they can take 2 out of 3 only because they're playing at home.
Yeah.
But if they weren't playing at home, I would probably give it to South Alabama. But they're playing at home, and Texas State always plays really well at home. So I'll give them 2 out of 3.
13-4 this season at home.
Yeah.
This always happens to me where y'all take my numbers, and I don't want to say the exact same thing y'all said. So I'm going to say they sweep them just to be
Hey, there you go.
They take all 3. And so there's my bold prediction of the weekend right there.
All right, there you have it. The sweep, taking 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3 here. Bobcats are 13-4 at home at Bobcat Ballpark, and South Alabama 6-7 away from their home stadium. So look for the Bobcats to have a clear-cut advantage. Bobcat team that did not have an advantage Wednesday night was the Texas State softball team. Lose to Texas 19-7, get run ruled. Not pretty. Ricky had some interesting things to say. But before we get into what she had to say after the loss, I want to take one quick break and hear a word from our sponsor.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times.
We've done it! Since opening last fall, Vapor Essentials has provided San Marcos with the best in electronic cigarettes. Whether you're kicking the smoking habit or interested in the growing popularity of vaping, there's never been a better time to visit. Vaporize and customize with our ever-expanding inventory. All 100% authentic hardware from brands like Totally Wicked, Halo, and more. We also carry the best quality e-liquid by Texas Select Vapor, with nicotine ranges from 0 to 24. Try before you buy or just kick back at our full-service vaping bar. Our friendly and experienced staff will help you with all your vaping needs. Whether you're new or a familiar face, we'll be happy to provide you with the highest quality of customer service. At Vapor Essentials, we are consumers for consumers. We are your e-cigarette store. Stop by at 1515 Aquarina Springs or call us today at 512-878-8869. 18 and older, we ID.
Hey Bobcats, Odus here. Let's take a minute to talk about the University Bookstore and Fan Shop. These on-campus stores take care of all your Texas State needs, from books and supplies to Bobcat apparel and gifts. And the more you shop, the more these stores can give back to the students and organizations of Texas State. You can find the bookstore at the LBJ Student Center and the Fan Shop at Bobcat Stadium. You can also check them out online at bookstore.txstate.edu. Be sure to mention From the Field to the Fans and the Fan Shop for a 10% discount.
Need cupcakes or cookies for your sweet tooth, or maybe a custom decorated cake for your sorority or fraternity celebration? Pennington's Cakes has you covered. Since 1962, Pennington's Cakes has been providing some of the best tasting desserts in Central Texas. We bake our cakes, cupcakes, and cookies fresh to order with quality ingredients and lots of love and care. No matter the order, Pennington's Cakes will rise to the occasion. Every one of our creations is artfully decorated and memorably presented. Get 10% off your purchase when you show your Texas State ID. We also offer free wedding cake consultations. We're conveniently located at 1662 South I-35, right next to Thad Ziegler Glass. Come by or call us today and join our family of satisfied customers. Our number is 512-396-4059. 512-396-4059.
And we're back for Cameron Cutshaw, Kirk Jones. I'm Odus Evbagharu. Talking a little bit about Texas State softball. They lose to Texas 19-7, get run ruled. Not pretty for the Bobcats. In fact, let's just go straight to the pitching because Rainhouse gets to start. She was shaky in the first inning, only being able to pitch inning and 2/3. 9 runs given up, 5 of them earned, 7 hits, 1 walk. Ashley Wright comes in, gives up 7 earned runs. She gave up 8 runs. Kelly Gardner comes in, pitches the 1/3 inning she could. She gives up 2 earned runs, 3 hits. It wasn't pretty. The only bright spot in the lineup for the Bobcats is Courtney Harris. 2 hits, 1 double, 1 home run. She gets 2 RBIs. And that was pretty much the bright spot for Texas State. For Texas, I'm not even going to read you the names. I'm just going to go down the lineup card. 2 for 3, 2 for 3, 3 for 3, 2 for 3, 1 for 2, 1 for 1, 1 for 2, 3 for 3.
Did every player get a hit? It sounds like at least
I think everyone in the play that started got a hit, and then they started bringing in their reserves.
Yeah.
When you give up 19 runs, you shouldn't be shocked that everyone gets a hit and almost gets 2. And it was just tough. Oh man, giving up 19 runs. I believe Texas was able to get. I think they got 19 runs on 19 hits, if I'm not mistaken. So. That's a rough game, but the Bobcats able to get 7 runs themselves. They moved to 19-19 on the season, and Texas moves to 21-15.
What happened, man? I mean, it's such a promising start, and then kind of falling off a little bit. It seems like they kind of lost their pitching. You know, we always talk about how Rain House is, you know, she's the go-to pitcher, of course, but Ashley Wright giving up 7 runs in this game, and Kaylee Gardner giving up some more runs. It's just kind of. You're not feeling too good about the pitching right now, and it's I know Texas, they beat them in the fall, so I'd like to know like what happened between the fall and now, but you know it's kind of I'm a little more worried about the pitching now that they lost this bad to Texas.
Yeah, I really don't know what happened. You know, they had a great start to the season. I think this is the first time they're 500 since the second game of the season when they played those back-to-back games in that tournament, and I mean, you know. It was such a good start, and they were up. I don't remember what their highest peak record was, where they were how many games above 500.
Yeah, they had to have been 10, 11 games at one point.
They were riding strong, but I think I hate to say this about them, but it's just something about who we would normally claim to be a good team. I put that in quotes because I mean you can't. I don't.
Yeah, you never.
Like a team of notable notoriety, I guess, like the North Texases of the world, the Baylors, the Texas, the Texas Tech, A&M. Like it's something about those teams that just tripped them up, and I don't know why. I mean, it's be one thing if they like took one game from any of those teams, but they've lost all of those games, and their biggest win of the season came against number 20 California, which I think me and you talked about in the last podcast. And so, you know, it's kind of hard to think. You know, they have what I would call their biggest series this weekend against South Alabama, who is, in my opinion, is going to be the best team they face up until the season and for the rest of the season. You know, they're a solid team. You know, their record stands for it. They're ranked 12th. You know, they're legit, and things aren't looking good. That's simply what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, no. I completely agree with your assessment. Lafayette might want to argue with you on the best team of the conference in Western Kentucky.
I get that, but I mean, I still think.
No, I agree with you. I think South Alabama's the best team too. I just think Lafayette and Western Kentucky would probably be like, hold on, guys, you know, we make a case, but you know, I think it's just. I don't know if it's energy, if it's focus, if it's a good team. Because Ricky's beaten these teams in the past. This isn't. I mean, they beat Texas in the fall. Right. You know, and I don't know what it is. I don't know where they've lost their mojo, kind of. But they're going to be at home this week, and they're going to play South Alabama. South Alabama, I believe, they have not lost a conference game, riding a 13-game winning streak. The Bobcats right now got some catch-up to do because Lafayette, South Alabama, and Western Kentucky have at least played 6 conference games, and they're all undefeated. The Bobcats, I believe, are like 2-4 in conference. So your 2 wins coming against Monroe, who's like on the a bottom feeder in the Sun Belt. They got to figure it out. And I agree with you. I think this series against South Alabama at home becomes now even more important because you lose 19-7, you don't know what the psyche of the team's going to be like. How do they respond? You get run ruled, you get beat by 12, you get beat down, as some of my friends love to say. And Ricky's got to figure it out, and some of these players got to figure it out. And I think part of it is the inexperience that they have. They're young, they have transfers. He's only really had 3 players that have really played with experience: Corley, Rain, Tamisha played a little bit, but Kelly Baker, Jordan Masick is really the only other one I can really think of that's had the experience like Coralie and Rain has had. So hopefully they can put it together.
Yeah. I want to read you my quotes that I got from Coach Woodard after the game. She was in no mood to talk, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
She just said, we didn't keep them from scoring, simply. It's hard to win games when you can't keep the ball in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Those are her thoughts. And, I mean, she said it razor sharp, and, she did not want to be messed with. And asking her about the psyche of the team as they head into South Alabama, she had no idea. She said there's nothing she said to them right now, and that they have to talk about it tomorrow because you can't. It's hard to move past games as big as this one, and when you get defeated as bad as they did tonight. Yeah, and it kind of hurts too because you came into this game thinking, I would think you had some confidence against Texas.
Yeah.
It was the fall, but you're like, okay, we've seen them. I mean, we beat them before. I would feel pretty confident if I've seen a team before and beat them. It's disappointing, I think, to see them lose not just to lose, but lose this bad.
Yeah.
Getting run ruled is not fun. Like I know in Little League when I played, you're getting run ruled. You're just like, oh my. Even as a kid, you're just like, man, you went to the school next day, you couldn't talk to anybody. So I mean, it's just
getting embarrassed.
Yeah, not a great way headed into a solid team into the weekend.
Yeah, and last week I picked that they would get swept. I'm picking that again. I cannot. I don't know how a young team can overcome getting beat like this. It's hard. And even the coaches at loss of words. I mean, that'd be my prediction for them is that they probably get swept by South Alabama and go 3 games under 500.
Yeah, I wanted to add just one more quick thing about Texas and their confidence level is that Texas is struggling this season.
Yeah.
They are not the typical
team,
softball team you'd expect from Texas. So, and I think that adds to your confidence level. Like you're going in there thinking, I thought they were almost on the same playing field. They were 10 at one point this season, or in the rankings in the NCAA, and they've dropped out. They're close enough in record. They were a game or two apart. So I think you had to go in there expecting to be competitive, and it's really unfortunate how this is all played out. And I do agree. I think I have to, even if you say it too. I think we're all in agreement that they're going to get swept this weekend. I talked for you. I'm really sorry. I don't know. I think they have a shot at one because I just don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with the other 2 games. I think they have a doubleheader one game. Doubleheader on Saturday.
I mean,
that's game.
I don't know. There's no way Rain House is going to pitch the first game and the second game of doubleheader. So I think they could pull off the first game of doubleheader and then definitely lose the next 2. So 1 and 2. I'll give them a benefit of the doubt of 1 and 2.
Yeah. Another thing is, they were semi-competitive with Lafayette. I would say. It's kind of weird how they scored 7 runs tonight, and 7 runs would have beaten Lafayette in 2 of those games that they played against them, where they lost 5-2. That is good enough to get you 2 wins against Lafayette. So hopefully they can just turn the tide. You really can't expect much more from them right now. They got to get the ship back in the right direction.
Yeah, and hopefully they can do that against South Alabama. I'm not a big believer of it, but we'll see. But when we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit March Madness, Final Four. Then we're going to talk about opening day and how we'll overreact. But before we do all of that, we're going to take one quick break and hear a word from our sponsor.
My baby is drama, mama, don't like me. She be doing things like having the boys come from her neighborhood to the studio trying to fight me. She need to get a piece of American pie and take her bite out. That's my house. I disconnect the cable and turn the lights out.
We've done it. Since opening last fall, Vapor Essentials has provided San Marcos with the best in electronic cigarettes. Whether you're kicking the smoking habit or interested in the growing popularity of vaping, there's never been a better time to visit. Vaporize and customize with our ever-expanding inventory. All 100% authentic hardware from brands like Totally Wicked, Halo, and more. We also carry the best quality e-liquid by Texas Select Vapor, with nicotine ranges from 0 to 24. Try before you buy or just kick back at our full-service vaping bar. Our friendly and experienced staff will help you with all your vaping needs. Whether you're new or a familiar face, we'll be happy to provide you with the highest quality of customer service. At Vapor Essentials, we are consumers for consumers. We are your e-cigarette store. Stop by at 1515 Aquarina Springs or call us today at 512-878-8869. 18 and older, we ID.
Hey Bobcats, Odus here. Let's take a minute to talk about the University Bookstore and Fan Shop. These on-campus stores take care of all your Texas State needs, from books and supplies to Bobcat apparel and gifts. And the more you shop, the more these stores can give back to the students and organizations of Texas State. You can find the bookstore at the LBJ Student Center and the Fan Shop at Bobcat Stadium. You can also check them out online at bookstore.txstate.edu. Be sure to mention From the Field to the Fans and the Fan Shop for a 10% discount.
Need cupcakes or cookies for your sweet tooth, or maybe a custom decorated cake for your sorority or fraternity celebration? Pennington's Cakes has you covered. Since 1962, Pennington's Cakes has been providing some of the best tasting desserts in Central Texas. We bake our cakes, cupcakes, and cookies fresh to order with quality ingredients and lots of love and care. No matter the order, Pennington's Cakes will rise to the occasion. Every one of our creations is artfully decorated and memorably presented. Get 10% off your purchase when you show your Texas State ID. We also offer free wedding cake consultations. We're conveniently located at 1662 South I-35, right next to Thad Ziegler Glass. Come by or call us today and join our family of satisfied customers. Our number is 512-396-4059. 512-396-4059.
And we're back here to talk about the Final Four. March Madness is over with. It is April, so now the madness has kind of calmed down now. And now we're going to talk about Kentucky, Wisconsin. Then we're going to talk Florida. And who's Florida playing? UConn. They're so far up northeast, it leaves my head sometimes. But yeah, UConn, Florida, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be a very interesting matchup. I think Florida probably will end up winning that contest. I think Shabazz Napier, the hot hand, kind of cools off, and Florida with the 4 seniors should take it. And I think it's going to be an all-SEC battle. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. The SEC, they already dominate football. You're going to have 2 SEC teams play basketball. Oh, and the championships, I don't want it, but I think logically those are the 2 teams that will play each other. I think Kentucky's more athletic than Wisconsin, but I might subscribe to the Charles Barkley theory. Charles Barkley, Wisconsin, his theory is, number 1, give the ball to Frank Kaminsky. Number 2, give it to Kaminsky. Number 3, give it to Kaminsky. So, we might subscribe to that issue and see what happens, but I think it's an all-SEC battle. Before I give it to you guys, too, what's interesting about the SEC of the High Five, now they're starting to call it the 5 power conferences, because no longer 6, but of the High 5 conferences, SEC took the least 3. All 3 went to the Sweet 16, and potentially 2 of them could be playing in the championship game. Oh, how the SEC just keeps winning.
Yeah, it just seems like they just won't go away in any sport, even baseball, just whatever sport you pick. I mean, it's going to be SEC, but I hate to agree, but I think it's Florida and Kentucky too, and I can see Kentucky losing. I think Florida's going to run away with it. I mean, UConn they're good, and Napier's playing really well, and Boatride's playing a solid. I just think Florida's just way too talented. Yeah. I mean, they've got the best players, 4 seniors, so I definitely see Florida coming away with it. Kentucky's just not unstoppable right now. I mean, the hot hand. I usually go with the hot hand, and that's the hottest team in the nation right now. So I'm going to go with Florida and Kentucky, and I think Florida will win it all.
You said something a minute ago. Is like, logically speaking, it's Florida and Kentucky. But I'm not thinking logically, because I don't have $1 billion riding on this tournament anymore. So, with that said, I'm having Florida getting upset by UConn, because why the hell not? And then we got UConn, and then I have Kentucky, and I think Kentucky's going to win, because I had Wichita State winning it all.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then,
he picked Wichita State to win it all, so his theory is, hey.
If they're not going to win it, the team that beat them is going to win it, to give me a moral victory and pretend I won $1 billion.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
So he subscribed. So you're still living in the madness. He's
I
like, forget April. Forget April. I'm still living in the madness. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I think Final Four is always fun. I think when you're the Final Four teams, I think you win a championship in itself, except if you go to UCLA, because they don't hang up Sweet 16 banners, Elite 8 banners, and I believe they don't hang up Final Four banners either. You got to win the championships. You got to win the ships. Only at UCLA, but everywhere else, getting to that Saturday is a big deal. Then Monday night you play the national championship game. It's going to be interesting. I think Florida, you have Kentucky, Florida as well. So go figure there. We still got the SEC pulling away.
Yeah.
Although Florida State did ruin the SEC's chance in football, so I guess I got to avenge it in basketball. Something we got to talk about is opening day. The Stros, they win. The Cubs, they're losing. What's new? Actually, okay, the Astros losing on April Fool's Day is just the irony of it all, because they're probably still going to lose 80 to 90 games this season. But I think, interestingly enough, the Phillies and Rangers series is kind of interesting. A lot of runs being put up. You're seeing the Detroit Tigers kind of, I think they'll be solid this year. Boston, Grady Sizemore. I know we've talked about Freddie Freeman. So there's a lot of things to kind of look forward to this season and see what's going to go down in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it's a good season. It's like you said, Phillies and Rangers, I think, tied for the most runs collectively on opening day. So you kind of expected it from the Rangers, but the Phillies kind of came out of nowhere, and they're kind of been on the decline. So it was interesting to see them score 14 runs. But great. Everyone loves opening day, no matter if you like baseball or not. I mean, if you talk to anybody, two of the best things in sports are probably Super Bowl and opening day. Yeah. So it was great week so far. Mike Trout, getting the contract he did, that's always something to play in there. Same with Miguel Cabrera, and kind of steering away from the game, but more on the
I agree with you, because that's part of the opening day hoopla was Miguel Cabrera getting an 8-year extension. It was going to worth $292 million. I don't agree with it, but hey, he would have paid that guy that kind of money. That's fine.
Yeah. I had something to say. I forgot what it was.
Opening day, was it about the Rangers?
No. It was about Seth Meyers, but I don't remember how I was going to tie it all together. So never mind. Come back to me in a second. I'll get around back to it.
Yeah, but no, I agree about the contracts. Trout, 144.4. I think that's going to set up the millions and millions and millions of dollars he's going to make in his third contract. Be really interesting. I think another interesting tidbit about opening day as well is Ozzie Smith has gotten the 100,000 votes he needed for the petition to make opening day a national holiday.
Wow.
So now it's up to Washington to see if they can give us another day off school, which I'm not opposed to. Yeah. Now, the only thing, though, is if Major League Baseball decides to make this on a Saturday or Sunday, I'll be mad.
Yeah.
I'll be mad. Okay, help the kids out. Let's not go to school. Make it on a Monday, or a Monday, because in college you don't really have Friday class. A lot of people don't have Friday class. So let's try to do it on a day where we have the majority of us have classes and can enjoy some baseball.
Yeah, definitely. Another little tidbit too is Jimmy Rollins. Now he leads I think he set the record for most opening days at starting position for one team.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I'm not really a Phillies fan, but it's good to see you respect the players. Yeah. So definitely, because a lot of teams don't stay at the same team for that long anymore. That's true. So shout out to Jimmy Rollins for doing that, doing him.
The moment's passed now, but I remember what I was going to say.
It's all right.
I was going to say that I was watching Seth Meyers a couple of nights ago, and he was talking about the Miguel Cabrera contract, and he was like, so did Detroit just have $300 million laying around, and they just decided to give it to a 31-year-old soon-to-be designated hitter?
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny.
I think it's funny, too, because they won a World Series championship, and I think what they did was wave bye-bye to it, because I think Max Scherzer – bye-bye. We talked about this. Victor Martinez, bye-bye. I think a lot of these guys, they got to be thinking their window is closed, because to give Miguel Cabrera that kind of money and to be hamstrung by him like that, plus Verlander has an $185 million contract, and they're saying they might be able to pull off Scherzer. Remind you, Scherzer turned down the Trout money, and that he would have been the 6th highest paid pitcher in all of baseball. I can't believe he turned down that money and walked away from it, and Detroit's going to be interesting.
The thing, though, about it is I don't think Detroit is that hurt, because look at the Angels. The Angels have a 10-year, $42 million player. They have a 5-year, $155 million player. Now they got a 6-year, $140. That's a lot of money. Yeah. I don't see how they're not. But they got to be up there with the Dodgers and Yankees for most players.
Yeah, what's different for LA is the market.
Yeah.
Their market can afford that compared to Detroit. I don't feel like Detroit's market could afford that.
Yeah, and the city's struggling as it is.
So
it's I think out of all the sports in Detroit, baseball is that.
Yeah,
because that's
definitely.
So you could kind of see in baseball don't have a cap, so if you can make that kind of money, then by all means spend it. So
I agree.
Yeah. But before we leave, you guys got any final thoughts?
Opening day, just kind of on that. It's always fun to watch all the early games at 12 o'clock. You don't see that a lot in July. So, I wish they would. I wish I could take a day off school and watch all the games. But I'd like to see how Ozzie Smith's petition turns out too. It's interesting to see how that turns out. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Ready for baseball to begin.
Typically, opening nights for technical opening night for baseball is on a Sunday, so I feel like our theory of if they do make it a national holiday will fall just on a Sunday, just like Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
So who knows what we'll say about that. But I didn't talk about the Rangers because you condemned me a second ago about doing it. But I will say that it was nice to see a walk-off first win in the region. We'll say this: I was excited to say we're not going to go 0-62 or 1-62 like Ian Kinsler, but he had a walk-off single against the Tigers. Wednesday. It's like he heard all of us bashing him, and he was like, "Well, whatever."
Yeah, and Kinsler definitely proved some wrong. Proved a lot of people wrong. One thing, final thoughts. We are a sports-oriented show, but tragedy has struck the state of Texas as much as the nation has. Our thoughts and prayers are with those in Fort Hood Wednesday, leaving 4 dead, including the gunman, others critically injured. The shooter's identified as a 34-year-old soldier, Ivan Lopez. He died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, the Justice Department is saying. This is the second shooting that happened in Fort Hood in as many years. In 2009, 13 people were killed and more than 30 wounded in the mass shooting at the base that carried out by then Major Nadal Hassan, an Army psychiatrist. So our thoughts and prayers are out with those families. It's sad, and it strikes me a little bit more because it's the people that defend us. It's people in our country that are willing to sacrifice their lives so that way we can have the freedom to talk about sports, to have shows like this, to tape it, to have fun with it, to be goofy. And so for that to strike us again is really sad. Again, Wednesday night, Fort Hood, 4 dead, others critically injured, and our thoughts and prayers are with those who have lost their loved ones.
Yeah, definitely. Same for me. It's a sad day to hear about that, and hopefully the families can recover from that. I know it's a bad deal for that. I agree. Thoughts and prayers out to families and people, other soldiers at Fort Hood. So
yeah, I didn't know about that tragedy until moments before we started the show, so it's still relatively fresh news to me. So my thoughts and prayers are out to them as well.
Yeah, and hopefully, these families can look into sports, a great pastime, as baseball led us through one tragedy and in wars before. Hopefully it can lead us in one now. But for Cameron Cutshall, for Kirk Jones, I am Odus Evbagharu, and like I always say, we'll see you next time. Bye.
What I call you. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.